I love that dad joke that says, did you know that before playing Luke Skywalker in Star Wars Episode 4, Mark Hamill had never seen a single Star Wars movie? I mean, I guess that's true. He hadn't. What's up, everyone? This is TK422, the Optimissed-It Stormtrooper here. This month, I am talking about my experience seeing each of the Star Wars films that were released in the month of May. If you are new to the channel, I have a bunch of other videos, sketches, dad jokes, all from the perspective of an Imperial Stormtrooper. So if you like this So if you like this content, please consider subscribing for more. One of my followers says this is her favorite Star Wars channel out there, so special thanks to my mom for that shout out. Just don't tell her where to find the other Star Wars influencers. I don't want to lose her too. You turned her against me! In this video, I'll be talking about my experience growing up watching Episode 4. I'll include each of the films in a link in the description, so check those out. I wrote these scripts in order of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and Solo, even though I'm releasing them on the anniversaries of their respective release date. Episode 4 was the first Star Wars film I ever watched, which makes a lot of sense. That's the case for most people who were born before 1999. Growing up, my sister had the VHS set of the films that had Vader on the cover of the first one, a Stormtrooper on the cover of the second one, and some pointed ear green alien guy on the third one. As it would turn out, this was Yoda. He's in the movie for maybe 5 minutes, but he's on the cover of the VHS. I knew that Darth Vader fights with a lightsaber, and lightsabers are cool, so naturally I always wanted to watch the one with Vader and the lightsaber duel. As far as I knew, each Star Wars film was its own anthology film about something completely different out in space. I had no idea the 3 films were one continuous story. I was a child. I didn't know how movies worked. If there's any indication on the cover, they were just all very, very different movies. And in some ways they were, but they were one continuous story, as I would find out later. So we would put on A New Hope, and I would go play with my nieces and nephews who were only 2 years younger than me until the lightsaber duel would happen, and then I would pay attention to the movie. It wasn't until I was in 2nd grade, sometime between the release of Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, that I overheard my friends talking about the movie where you see Darth Vader without his helmet. It was then that I learned that Darth Vader wasn't just in one movie like Darth Maul was, he was in all 3 of the original films. This changed everything for me, and that led me on a journey to fall deeper in love with Star Wars by watching The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. More about that in those videos. In high school, some friends and I tried showing Star Wars to a few girls we knew who had never seen Star Wars. We showed them the prequels first. In doing that, I discovered that the originals actually do a better job at explaining the Force and the Jedi to first-time viewers than the prequels do. I think the prequels are partially, under the understanding that you have already seen the original films, and so the prequels build off that knowledge and add more depth to the story. So years later, in college, a friend and I were showing another friend who had never seen Star Wars. We were showing her all the films, but this time we decided to show her the original first. To be fair, if you don't appreciate the films, it can sometimes be difficult, to watch an old film because the style and look is different than what we are used to seeing nowadays. After the first scene, the beginning of the film is slower paced by today's standards. But she mustered her way through the movie, and she did agree to watch the next one. She really enjoyed The Empire Strikes Back. Every time there was an iconic line, she would laugh and say, "That's why my brothers always quote that." Now I know. Overall, she enjoyed the sequel much more than the original, and I found that the case with others as well. With some people, that sometimes that first one's hard to get through. But for someone like us, someone like me, it's every moment is so beloved. And I love the original Star Wars movie. In fact, when my son was little, well, he's still little, he's 4, but when he was younger, less than 2, or maybe he was 2, I don't remember, he was small, right? Okay, you get the idea. I started to show him segments of this film. I started at the beginning. Seems like a good place to start. That's the longest he had paid attention to a single film up to that point in time. He snuggled with me and he watched the movie for about 25, 26 minutes, which that's pretty good for a toddler. It's about to the point where we are first meeting Luke. I feel like I learned a lot as a kid from Luke Skywalker. I wanted to be like him, caring and brave. I learned a lot about good versus evil from these films. I knew I wanted to be a good guy. I wanted to be nice and caring. He was a role model to me. Episode 4 is one of the few Star Wars films I have not seen in theaters, but I hope to do that one day. These were the films that changed the course of cinema, and they've had a huge impact on our culture, our sense of mythology, and my own personal life. What does Star Wars mean to you? I would love to hear from you and read your journey. If you made it this far in the video, please leave a comment. I love talking about my love of Star Wars with others and hearing what it means from them. Thank you.